we're rolling.
All right, this is an interview at the Hampton Inn, Rochester, New York, 13th of January, 2004, approximately 10:30 a.m. Interviewers are Mike Russert and Wayne Clark. Could you give me your full name, date of birth, and place of birth, please?
Yeah, my name is Edward J. Penrose. I was born December the 8th, 1932 in Rochester, New York, at home.
At home, okay.
Yep.
All right, what was your educational background prior to entering service?
High school. High school education.
Were you drafted or enlisted?
I enlisted.
Why did you enlist?
Well, at that time, there was jobs you could not get because I was too ripe for the draft. And I figured, well, I'm going to get into anything. I'm going to get into what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize I would end up in the infantry because what I wanted to get into was a single corps, but there was no opening, so you go where Uncle Sam goes, sends you then after that. And that's where I ended up.
So you enlisted in the Army because you thought you'd be able to get into
Yep.
the Signal Corps?
Yep.
Okay. All right, when did you enlist?
October the 2nd, 1952, I went into service.
Where were you inducted?
Buffalo, New York.
All right, and where did you go for basic?
Basic training, went to Fort Dix, New Jersey, 47th Infantry Regiment.
Okay, could you tell us about some of your experiences there, your training?
Basic training I thought was, everybody grew up a little bit. The biggest thing was that learned a lot. I thought I knew how to live in the woods. I learned an awful lot better how to live in the woods and how to survive and how to take the cold and the wet dampness of an ocean area like it is around Fort Dix. And you learn to walk in sand, and if you want to get your legs built up, that's the best place to ever do it. Between there and Little Creek, Virginia, maybe, I guess, I don't know.
Did you receive any specialized training at all?
No, basically is a 16 weeks of infantry basic training was what we had at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And handle all the weapons, the M1 rifle at that time, and machine gun, mortars, grenade launchers, hand grenades. See how good of a picture you were. That was basically about basic infantry tools that we had at that time.
All right, so did you go right from Dix then to Korea? Or?
They sent me home for a week or two, and then I shipped out to Fort Lewis, Washington. And we were there for about 2 weeks until they got everybody out there to have it be there. And then we shipped out of there to, we thought we were getting into colder water, and we figured, oh, we're going to Alaska, because they didn't tell you where you were going or anything. Then somebody said, oh, the weather's getting warmer, and we knew where we were going then. And I believe we landed in Japan, in Kobe, I believe we landed there. And then we went up to it was a Japanese military base. I think it was, their Marines were stationed there that took their training. Big auditorium, we had a quick indoctrination of where we were going, what to expect and whatever. And then the next day we got on board ship again and took off to Incheon. And then from Incheon, we got into some
Now, when did you land in Korea?
Oh, let's see, that was around either the end of February or the first part of March. I can't really remember. It was still cold there, I know that. And
Now, what year was that?
1953, when I got to Korea. And then from there, they put us on a train, and they put 2 armed guards, and they wouldn't give us any ammunition. And at that time, some of the trains were getting knocked off by infiltrators. But we had no incidents or anything like that. So we ended up, they broke us down and put us into the 3rd Infantry Division. And,
Now, were you the replacements?
Yes, oh yeah, we're 3rd Infantry Division replacement area that they had at that area. I can't remember where the area was. I know it was just right around the 38th at that time, and 38th parallel. And then they broke us down into the regiments that we were going to, so we all hit on a deuce and a half, and they took us down to the 15th Infantry Regiment. Well, we had a chance to fire our weapons, then we gave us live ammunition to make sure they worked, and then we were sent out to the various rifle companies, and I ended up in Fox Company, and I'll never forget as long as I live. I could see where the company headquarters was at that time, way behind the MLR, and met my platoon leader, Lieutenant John Mitchell. He was the exec officer. Never forget him as long as I live.
Why is that?
Why? Well, he taught me a lot. Taught me how to survive, and he was a real good guy. And I'll never forget when we got up on line, up on the Outpost. Our company was supporting Outpost Harry. 3 outposts in the Chorwon Valley. One was Tom, Dick, and Harry. And I was up on Harry. We were right near Star Mountain. Matter of fact, the Chinese were looking down our throat all the time. And first night I got up there, laying on top of a bunker. You never stayed inside of a bunker at night, not unless you wanted to live. And laying on top of it with a machine gun. All of a sudden, something big ran over the top of me. I didn't know what it was. I grabbed my bayonet and I'm stabbing around. The squadron says, "What's the matter? What's the matter?" I says, "Something ran over the top of me." I said, "I don't know what it was. It was a guy or what?" He started laughing. He says, "That was a rat." I said, "A rat?" I said, "That's pretty good size." And I hadn't seen what things go on over there. So the next day, when it come daylight, I looked down at the base of the hill, and of course there's dead bodies down there, there's junk, whatever, in the battlefield. And these rats were eating everything. And they're big. They're big as dogs. I'd never seen them like that. So I opened my eyeballs a little bit there. So that day, there was a dead Chinese laying out just outside of our trench there on the top of the hill, and the squad leader said to me, he says, "There's a dead body out there." He says, "Take some lye and go out and sprinkle it on there so the smell isn't so bad." And I said, "Yeah, okay." I'm a young guy, 19, 20 years old. And I'm out there like I'm feeding chickens. I'm sprinkling the stuff on there, and all of a sudden I see the dirt kicking up around me. And, hey, what the heck is that, you know? All of a sudden, get the hell out of there, they're shooting at you. There's a sniper up on top of the hill trying to get me. Well, I got educated fast. After that, I didn't do too many other stupid things. Yep. But then after that, I think it was, we were up on the Outpost, and then it was around April the 21st. I remember that. And I don't know, I was out digging trenches or something, and we started getting hammered from the Chinese. The next thing I know, they're taking me off the hill. I ended up back in 3rd Division, I ended up down in Seoul, 121st Evac. I got down there, and the doctor told me, he says, "You've been out a couple of days." I said, "Well, yeah." He says, "Yeah." He said, "I think you had a concussion," but he said, "How do you feel now?" I said, "I feel good." He said, "We're going to keep you here for a while." I said, "Okay, fine." So then the next thing I know, he says, "I think we might send you to Japan." I said, "Oh boy, get the hell out of this hellhole." So the next thing he comes in a couple of days later, and he says, "No," he says, "I'm going to send you back to your outfit." He says, "I think you're all right." I says, "Okay." So at that time, there was no anything to transport you up. You figure your own way back up there. So I thumbed a ride back up, and with an English outfit. I got a ride halfway with them, and then I jumped on caught a water truck, I guess it was, and the guy drove me up to the outfit. And I got back to the outfit, and there were, that day, I can't remember if it was that day or not, that a bunch of guys were getting decorated. The sergeant said to me, he said, you were on the hill, weren't you?" I said, "Yeah." I said, I don't remember when I went off of there, and nobody else." He said, "No," he said, "before things really happened," he says, he was gone, they took him off the hill. So. And then the next thing I know, I stayed with the outfit, and then we pulled back on the MLR, main line of resistance, and I went into the company headquarters platoon, And then in that time period, Lieutenant Mitchell got hit that night too bad. He ended up in Japan. Well, he came back to the outfit after he got, just before we had the ceasefire. He came back, and they made him Battalion S1. Well, everybody that was with him on there, he got us all good jobs. In other words, you weren't on a line outfit all the time, but so I ended up working for him in the battalion headquarters. And he's a fellow that went up through the ranks in the service, and he turned around and he said to me, he says, after we get this ceasefire, and we knew that we were going to have one, he says, we're going to open up a PX for the battalion level. I said, PX? He said, and you're going to run. I said, I don't know anything about that. He said, you're going to learn. I said, yes, sir. Oh, but there was another lieutenant, and I can't remember his name, that when he was at battalion, took over after he got hit, and he got killed up in Kumwah Valley, and he was a retread from World War II. Nice guy, and he got hit right square in the kiss with a mortar, blew him out of hell. But this Lieutenant Mitchell, he educated me about how to keep books, whatever. I had no idea what I was doing, and you kept him to the penny for Uncle Sam. You don't want to know any overages or shortages. And so then shortly after this, then we had the ceasefire, and like he said, we opened the PX, and myself and a couple other guys, we ran the place, and we did quite well with it. And we had a good time doing it, and I stayed with that until, heck, was it 54, I think early 54. And at that time when we had the ceasefire, I had 22 or 23 points at that time. And so next thing I knew, I was getting ready to rotate out of there, and I got home in March or something like that, or I can't really remember. And got back and came home for, they let me stay home for 30 days or something, I forget. Then I ended up at Fort Devins, Massachusetts, the 74th Regimental Combat Team. And we ended, that was a jump-off team here for the East Coast of the United States at that time. And we were all combat veterans from Korean era, and most of us were all first three graders. So they, we had sergeants telling sergeants what to do, and that's interesting. And then we started getting some young fellas into the outfit, finished their basic training, so we had to finish them up, and then we got them into our situations, and we ended up going down to Little Creek, Virginia for specialized amphibious training at the Marine Corps base, and going off the four-story high rope up and down the nets. You climb down the net, you climb back up the nets, and it got interesting. We had a lieutenant, he was a ROTC boy from Purdue University, played football, big guy, holy smokes, but he froze on the nets on us. We took us 8 guys to get him off the net, and I'll never forget that. But for the amphibious training, we were out in Chesapeake Bay, out in the Atlantic Ocean, and learned to live in the swamps with all our little friends in the swamps, lay there for hours, whatever. Just learned to sleep in a tree, all that jazz. And then after that, we came back, and I had a new commanding officer at Fort Devins, was Captain Harry Messmer. Came up through the ranks in the military. And we were back at Fort Devins, and he says, how would you like to go to 1st Army? I said, doing what? He says, with the honor guard. He says, good detail. I said, yeah. You only work maybe 1 day a week, if that, and you're on pass. I said, yeah. Down in Governor's Island, New York at that time. And he called me the next day. He says, no, Penrose, he says, you're not going there. He says, but he says, you got to they want somebody to go to West Point. I said, West Point doing what? He said, teach hand to hand. He said, would you like to do that? And I said, oh, God, yeah. You get to West Point, keep your nose clean, you got a job for the rest of your life. And then he calls me the next day and he says, no. He says, you're not going there. I said, where am I going, sir? He says, you're going with me. We're going up to Camp Drum. We're going to train Army Reserve and National Guard people. I said, yes, sir, that's where we're going. And I finished up down there, and we for the whole summer we were down there, and the ones that came down there to meet, we made sure every time they came by our area they looked like soldiers, and there was no shirts hanging out of pants or anything like that. I didn't care if they were a captain or a general, we straightened them out. But the next item after that was that we got back to Fort Devins, and it's separated from the, getting ready to separate from the service, and there was a representative from the New York State Police there, and there was 3 of us, I think, from New York were getting separated. And he talked to all 3 of us, and he said, we've checked your military records, and you would probably make good troopers for us if you would like to come in. And I said, well, how much does that job pay? He says, well, $3,500 a year. I said, wow. I said, well, I got a job in civilian life. It's going to make around $4,200. That's $700 is a lot of money. He said, yeah. He says, it is. And I said, well, and I said, I don't think so. Then after that, I got out of the service, and I went to work at Police and Works here in Monroe County, and I worked there for almost 32 years. I got out of there at 55 and worked another tool and die shop and retired. Short history. Well, I did go to the RI2 too, in between there. Police sent me. They figured I was supposed to be smart or something. I don't know.
Do you ever have much contact with Republic of Korea soldiers at all, or?
No. I'll be honest with you.
Or the people of Korea?
The people of Korea, maybe my attitude to this day is the same as it was when I left there. I didn't trust them. I still don't trust them. I don't let them get behind me. I've seen too many guys get shorted, get knocked off, and counted that.
Did you ever have any blacks in your unit? That was the time
Yes.
of integration. How was?
I had, the matter of fact, the fellow that was next to me, I got popped there. He ended up, he got the $1 million wound. I found out after he got one of his leg blown off. So he went home. The ball game was over for him. Nice guy, real nice guy. Yeah.
Do you have any feelings about MacArthur and his relief at all? Or?
Well, I'll tell you, if they would have listened to him, history would have been written different. And I think he was right.
You think they should have went into
Yeah,
after the Chinese?
Yeah, the biggest problem that we had in that war, and we had it in the Vietnam War, is the people that sit in the square seats in Washington, D.C. trying to run a war from Washington, D.C. You don't do that. That's why we have generals, and that's why at this situation that we're in right now, they're trying to get their fingers into the pie in Iraq. And I think if the military can prevail and let them do their job, they'll be all right.
Did you ever stay in contact with anyone after you left service?
Yeah, I did. A few of the fellas is one fella. Oh God, I can't. Senior moment. He was with George Company, and he ended up and made a career out of the military. Matter of fact, he's head of, or was head of, the Society of the 3rd Infantry Division, and when I joined the 15th Infantry Regiment Association that we have, he was running that too, and so I used to call him up occasionally. I'd talk to him, shoot the breeze with him, and but he's not a kid anymore, and neither am I. But and then one other guy, he and I took basic training. We were in the same outfit in Korea. Bob Dornfried, he lives out of Connecticut, and but I think he's living down in Florida now, someplace. I don't know where he is down there, but he used to live in Connecticut.
I know you just alluded to belonging to some of the unit organizations. Did you ever join any veterans organizations?
Oh, yeah, I'm a past county commander of Monroe County American Legion. I belonged to William W. Outpost American Legion. Prior to that, I belonged to Frankie Roberts Outpost American Legion. and was commander of Robert's Outpost, and Commander William W. Dow Post, and I still belong there. And the adjutant, the finance, or the adjutant, and the compliance officer, and the judge advocate for there. Then 40 and 8, I'm one of the trustees. And then in the VFW of Monroe County, I'm the county poppy chairman. And let's see, what else? I belong to I'm past commander of the AMVETS post here in Rochester. And, oh gosh, I don't know, quite a few things.
No, I
One of the
noticed
marshals.
you were wounded with a concussion. Did you ever receive a Purple Heart for that? Or
No.
You didn't?
The only reason they said is they didn't think that happened at that time or whatever. And when they were writing that stuff up, when I got back there, the first sergeant asked me, and I told him, and one of the other squad leaders were there, and he said, no, they had taken him off the hill, and I didn't remember from nothing anyways. So.
But you had been unconscious for a couple of days,
Yeah.
though, right?
Yeah, I didn't know from nothing. The only all I knew was kapoom. But I didn't. And as far as I'm concerned, it really bothered me about Purple Heart. We had a guy when we got hit one time. It wasn't a big altercation. This guy, he was from New York City. He was opening a can of ammunition for the machine gun. He cut his finger. And he hollering, I'm hit, I'm hit. The squad leader come running up. He said, what's the matter? He said, look, I cut my finger. He put a rag around it and just keep going. And but that guy got the Purple Heart. Is that right?
Yeah. Did you ever make use of GI Bill?
No, I didn't. As I say, the company I work for, they sent me over to the RIT and said, see if you can get smart. Okay. And they paid the tab as long as I kept my marks up, so I can do that.
How do you think your time in the military affected or changed your life?
Oh, I think it changed my life to the fact that in the appreciation of what we really have here against what I've seen go on in other parts of the country, especially the South Pacific, and the standards of living, whatever. And I don't go any farther than Honolulu, Hawaii, in the South Pacific. No way. You couldn't pay me to live over there. And I think part of it is that I lost a lot of good buddies over there through all this stuff, and I just don't care. I went back over to the Punch Bowl in Honolulu, and there was guys that I was with, and I walked right up to their graves. They got a beautiful layout over there, and if you ever get a chance to go there, and they had their names, the outfit they were with, and everything, right where you could walk to.
All right, thank you very much for your interview.
And that's it. And of course, we didn't have any soft caps or anything else. We had to steel pots. So a bunch of us were delegated from each company to go down. So Lieutenant, he sent me, and there was about 6 of us when we went down to Seoul. And this one guy who was in charge of this was Master Sergeant Al Mason, little short guy. I don't think he was maybe 5'6", if that. Well, this was shortly after the ceasefire, and we, as they say, we didn't have anything, but we went down there for the specific purpose to get soft caps, buy them, whatever. So we get down there and said, let's go to the 8th Army NCO Club. Well, of course, you know, we're ragtag, fatigues, whatever. We don't have looking too sharp. And we get in the NCO Club and having a few drinks, and some MP, whoever, he's mouthed off. He says, what are these bums doing in here? Well, that's all it took. I'll tell you, a fight broke out, a pretty good fight. Well, we ended up standing in front of the sergeant there in charge of the MPs. He says, what happened? So we told him. These guys start popping off, and we didn't want to listen to that. We've been up online, whatever, and the first we came down and had a few drinks, and we were going to get our caps and get the hell out of it. And he said, well, you know, he says, I was in a line outfit at the end of World War II, and he says, I know how you feel. He says, tell you what, he says, don't cause any more problems down here. Get your stuff, have a couple more drinks. He says, then get the hell out of here and don't cause me any more problems. I says, okay. It was the provost marshal, I guess it was. And he was all right. But he was a good guy. He gave us a break. Other than that, I was like, it feels the stripes are sliding right down the arm. Of course, we didn't have any stripes on either. I met an Outpost Terry, John Eisenhower, come up there. They came up at night. Division commander, they don't come up there in the daytime because the place light up like a Christmas tree. And I was a young guy, standing there, and the three of them come up, and they're looking out down in the valley and whatever, and looking up and towards the mountain. And I shook his hand. He says, my name is John Eisenhower. He didn't say Major, right? Like John Eisenhower. And I said, nice to meet you, sir. And boom, he took off, and that was it. He was our Division S3, I think it was. Yeah, intelligence, whatever. Yep, that's a long time ago.
Now, these are all pictures of you?
Yeah.
And could you hold them up? If you just hold it up like this in front of you, Wayne will be able to focus, and if you could tell when they were taken, and
This
you know,
was
one
it.
at a time. And
Okay. I don't know if this is going to show too well, but this was taken after the ceasefire,
That's fine.
and this is a Quonset hut that they built for us.
Okay.
yeah.
Which one did I show you? Yeah.
Basically.
This is also the same Quonset hut, and that's myself kneeling, squatting down there.
Okay, got it.
Okay. And these are, let's see, I got a note in the back. Yeah, this one here was taken near one of the battlefields after the ceasefire, and my friend and I, we borrowed a Jeep Uncle Sam didn't know about, and we went up and we found out we were up in a demilitarized zone, so we popped a couple of pictures and then we got the hell out of there.
Okay.
How about that one?
Okay, this one here, they're taking some artillery shots on a mountain. Our 155s, I think, were hitting them with their artillery. And we were just observing where things were, what were going on.
Now, is that mountain overlooking your
This was across the valley.
Across the valley?
Star was up over here,
Mhm.
but this one was across the valley.
Okay.
Every time I think of that place, I think of that. We had a Greek outfit attached to us, and they went bananas one night to get into some cognac or whatever they got into, and they started fooling around with the Chinese, and man, we caught hell from them. They didn't get hit, but we did. We told them, go screwing around with them people, leave them alone.
How are your relationships with the Greeks? Were they?
Good, especially after the ceasefire. I met this Greek captain, and we were running the PX, and he liked beer, and a 3.2 beer. Yeah, crazy, you like that stuff? Yeah. So I give him a couple cases of beer for a bottle of cognac. Hey, they were working out like a bandit, and I'd sell like cognac for $15 or something like that. Hell, we could buy a lot more beer with that. So that's what we were doing. Man, I was doing pretty good. Then we set up our own NCO club. And I'll never forget that one guy, he got a mirror. A long mirror, almost as long as this wall in this room. And had it shipped, talk about the things they did on MASH program, had it shipped in from Japan. And all transported in, how he did it, I don't know, and had people to put it up on the wall after they got this building built. I tell you, that was a smooth operation. You meet a lot of smart people. Yeah, this is one of the tents that we set up after the ceasefire. this was in the area way below the south of the 38th parallel that this was taken at, best that I can remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you told us about these, but maybe if you hold them up and,
Yeah, this one here is our battalion parading. Oh, some of the guys are getting decorated. That's what it was. And General Gavin came down to make sure they had press fatigues on, and it looked pretty.
now was this James Gavin?
Yes,
Okay.
and General James Gavin. Oh, I'll never forget him.
Okay.
And then this one here is passing in review. Yep. Yep. That's the same day as that.
Okay.
Okay, I'd like to make copies of those. I have a copy machine in my room. Okay,
Okay.
well, thank you very much for your
Okay.
Thank you.